Isometric exercises are your friend, and don't fall into the trap of thinking that they're purely for rehab purposes. There's lots and lots of strength benefits to go with them too. This wall sit, for example, or a plank is a really common one that you might be aware of. Isometric exercises are purely about where the muscle itself is contracting, but the joints themselves are not moving. The muscle itself isn't actually moving. We're just getting that contraction through the muscle, but we're not risking any irritation through the joints around them. There are, of course, two different types of isometric contraction. This one here, called the overcoming isometric, where you're trying to overcome an immovable object. So you're maximally contracting against something that basically just is not going to shift. Versus the alternative called a yielding isometric, where you are just trying to hold a static position for a certain length of time. And on the whole, they're a really good tool to be not just used for rehab, as we've already discussed, but yes, they are great for adding joint stability, creating muscle endurance, so that time under tension, sitting in those correct positions for a long duration of time is going to create endurance throughout the muscles. Also helping people to own positions and find control within a certain position where they might have previously had a weakness. So sitting in that position and gaining real control is allowing them to kind of become more comfortable throughout a course of time. So also what you also get is you find that it's a lot of effort but low fatigue off the back of it. So these might be a really good tool to be used as part of maybe warm-ups or activations, or even maybe as part of some of your active rest days. And then also understanding that kind of mind-muscle connection. Again, it's kind of sitting in those positions and really feeling where that contraction is coming through, because that is literally you and the contraction that's happening. There's no movement, there's no real technique to have to think about here. So it does get that mind-muscle connection really switched on, which again can be really beneficial when you start to teach the skills behind some of the greater movements these muscles involve. So where might you use them? Well, as we've already touched on, in a rehab setting or early stages of rehab setting, you might be using it where the joint itself's not got an awful lot of tolerance, but you want to try and keep those muscles active and fired up, still trying to build some strength until that joint settle down. Then also in a strength setting, so it can really help to build weak spots. So in this example here, you might find that you're really weak at getting out the bottom of a chest press. This example here is going to help strengthen up that bottom position to help that weak spot and help you benefit from the isometric contraction, and in time be able to push your way out using bigger and larger weights when you're going through the full reps. And a lot of static positions can choose to adopt whether you want to do a yielding isometric or an overcoming isometric. Going back to the wall sit position, I can choose to sit here and time it for a certain length of time, just sit here resisting gravity, or I can choose to do an overcoming isometric where I'm going to drive into the wall, maximally contract and try and move that immovable object, but I'm really firing up my lower body core versus just trying to sit here for a length of time. Both of those have got their own different benefits, and make sure that you're choosing the right one for the benefit you're trying to achieve. So there we have it. So the next time you've got a joint that's a bit grumpy and doesn't feel like it wants to go through that full range of motion, remember you've always got isometrics to play with. Maybe you're finding yourself you've got a sticking point in your training, strength plateauing. Again, you've always got those isometrics and the options to play with.